Idle Valley Wetlands Reserve in North Nottinghamshire. It's a mosaic of lakes and farms and woodlands splashed across an ancient floodplain. One of England's most important wildlife havens. It's home to vast flocks of overwintering wildfowl, unusual species such as shelduck and pochard. Rare vagrants like this glossy ibis and a cattle egret. It's one of the richest birding sites in the region. A part has been designated as a site of special scientific interest. It was selected as one of the few locations to reintroduce beavers into the UK. The reserve is popular with walkers, families and foragers. At a time of biodiversity emergency, when we've already lost 85% of our wetlands and 70% of our wildlife, in a country repeatedly described as one of the most nature depleted, this rural idyll is literally a breath of fresh air. But it's under threat. The landscape was created, restored and rewilded years ago using waste fly ash dumped from nearby power stations. It was a dirty, noisy process that went on for years, aided by more than £1 million of public money. Now there's a proposal to dig it all up again.
It's renowned throughout the country, and bird watchers from all over come to visit the Idle Valley Nature Reserve, and this will actually rip the heart out the middle of this place.
The wetlands lie between Retford and Lound. The village of Sutton-cum-Lound abuts the proposed site. Local residents are concerned.
We are 200 yards from the coalface here of where they are going to be digging.
Fly ash is an ultrafine dust used as an additive in cement, where, depending on the application, it can help to lower emissions. But as a waste product, it's typically contaminated with heavy metals and other toxic substances. Dust and pollution is almost inevitable from a project like this. This danger to health, noise and disruption worries people.
What's going to happen is noise pollution, along with the dust.
I'm a severe asthmatic, so for me, I don't know what it's going to be in the air and what I'll be inhaling.
The Derbyshire Angling Club owns the immediately adjacent lake. Their experience is that scum can form underwater. They're concerned over the welfare of the anglers, the wildlife, and of course the fish. This little rural village already has 3 active construction sites, and a further 3 have been given permission. The neighbourhood plan, currently being updated, seeks to emphasise its traditional rural nature. But in spite of its rural status, and in spite of the importance of the nature reserve, industrial activity continues in and around the Idle Valley. The proposed excavations would link operations to the north and as far south as Retford into one big industrial zone.
The fact is that, we've got employment, we've got housing growing in Retford, and we've always had that industrial site over there, but the fear that those will be joined up and this will become an industrial site that will create noise, it will create dust for the local community, but it will completely destroy what we have here.
Industrial activity is expanding even now. Work has started on an 18-acre site immediately adjacent to where Hive proposed to put their processing plant, sharing the main access to the nature reserve and out onto the A638. Just yards away lies the new 400-unit Trinity Fields housing estate, with yet another section allocated to new business. The cumulative effect of all these is a major concern, not least in regard to traffic. This housing estate alone is likely to generate 250,000 vehicle movements annually onto Retford's already congested North Road. Hive's proposed 26,000 heavy truck movements would add vastly more emissions, as well as congestion and safety fears. Traffic fumes are a major cause of illness and death, especially in school-aged children, and not just from the exhausts, but from tyre wear, which presents an even greater threat. Across the region, councils are allowing farmland and natural spaces to be converted into housing estates and industrial parks. Land use conversion accounts for 1/3 of the causes of global warming and for most biodiversity loss. Scientists say that we need to preserve and protect between 30 and 50% of the Earth's surface. The UK is a signatory to the Kunming-Montreal Framework Agreement, which commits us to protect and restore 30% of our land by 2030. We need nature for our health, our sanity, for biodiversity, to aid climate control, and to maintain the integrity of an ecosystem that we're all part of. It might seem like a dilemma. I mean, how do you choose between reducing emissions and saving nature when we need both? But the answer is pretty clear.
There is no 1.5 degrees Celsius delivery on the Paris Agreement by only phasing out fossil fuels. We also need to come back into the safe operating space of the nature-based biodiversity.
My view is that species loss will kill us before climate change does. Both are extremely serious.
The whole point of cutting our emissions and reining in our environmental impacts is to restore the balance of nature, but it simply can't be done if we continue to destroy it.
Our nature is getting undermined all the time, and when we actually invested a lot of money into restoring and protecting what we have here, and then it's going to be just wiped away with one foul sweep. And whilst I know there's commitments to restore it once the work's been done, but by then what's lost here, it'll just be too late.
Hive will try to tell you that they will extract the PFA in microphases and restore it as they go, but there would still be acres of exposed PFA throughout the life of the project. Lying in the midst of wetlands, the Idle Valley is a flood zone. Hive will try to tell you that there is no flood risk to the site, but floods in the local area are getting more frequent and more serious. They also say PFA isn't contaminated, but this simply isn't true. A range of toxic materials have shown up in their own analysis. They say there will be a gain in biodiversity, but this is not based on species nor wildlife populations. They call it a circular economy project, but it's not. This is greenwashing. They say they're not destroying nature, that all will be restored, but that's 25 years or more into the future. Who's going to hold them to account? When a nearby tyre recycling plant went up in flames, it deposited a swathe of carcinogenic ash across nearby fields right at harvest time. Fire services, health authorities, and the Environment Agency seemed powerless to hold anyone to account. The vast majority of our waterways are badly polluted. The Environment Agency seems unable to hold anyone to account for that either. There are alternatives to fly ash. There are alternative ways of reducing emissions in cement production, and there are alternatives to this particular site, but there is no alternative to nature. It's our life support system. The county of Nottinghamshire has a fine track record in restoring the scars of its industrial past. It seems perverse to take a step backwards and dig it all up again. Profit-seeking by developers and the possibility of a few jobs seems scant compensation for the destruction of nature, loss of wildlife, increased traffic, and 25 years of disruption to village life. The choice is clear. 25 years of creeping industrialisation in the midst of an expensively restored natural landscape, or the protection and preservation of a diverse and delightful ecosystem that supports the well-being of birds, animals, and people.
We've got employment, we've got housing, and then we've got our beautiful rural part of Bassetlaw, which has its own heritage and something that we should be very proud of. You know, this is the heritage for Bassetlaw that we need to protect and maintain, and to lose it will be just a disaster for people in Bassetlaw.
In England, we've already destroyed most of our natural spaces. It's time to say no to reindustrialisation. In this rural part of North Nottinghamshire, enough is enough.